Hello, everyone. My name is Harry Pearson. I am the Chief Software Architect for Neo Global Development Seattle, and I am hosting today's demo days. We're doing a demo day every day this week with results of the recent Neo N3 Frontier Launchpad Hackathon. Just got to try and remember all the names. So today we're going to be seeing Rentfuse, the Intellij Plugin for Neo, and Natai. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce that exactly, Jeffrey. We'll get a chance to hear from you in a little bit. Each session is going to have 15 minutes worth of demo plus 5 minutes worth of Q&A from everybody. So we're going to start off with Rentfuse. Rentfuse is a protocol layer that enables Neo N3 NFT owners to rent out their assets. Owners can lend NFTs to generate revenue, and borrowers can rent NFTs to use them temporarily. Smart contract manages the NFT rent agreements between the owners and tenants, provides a functional interface to other contracts that allow interaction with rented assets. Furthermore, NFTs don't change ownership through the whole rent process, removing the risk of not having an asset returned. So let's start here with Michael Fabazi. Let me just unmute you. Oh, I guess you're already unmuted. Let me just let you have the screen.
Yep. Hi, Harry.
Hi,
everyone.
Hello.
Okay, 1 second.
Can you start your? Can you share a screen? I'm trying to see here. I don't know.
I can't share because it's disabled, the sharing of the screen.
I'm trying to set that up. Sorry, here.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Got it set up there. Let others share the screen. Can you try it now? Because I just changed it to multiple.
Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay, here we are.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and thank you for the invitation. I'm Michael. I'm a software engineer, and I am the creator of Rentfuse. Rentfuse is an application protocol layer, as said by Harry, that enables NFT renting on the Neo blockchain. Owners with the NFT could lend them to earn some revenues, and the other person could borrow them to use them temporarily. It is a platform that I developed for this hackathon by thinking about the ever-growing NFT market that has reached 2 billion during the first quarter of this year. So I thought that maybe there were every time some solution to trade NFTs, but there was nothing for the renting. So I said, let's develop something on it. And another important inspiration was related to gaming. Some of you may know World of Warcraft, for example. I imagine sometime that you need to defeat a very powerful boss, and you need a powerful weapon to do that. Maybe you don't have it, so you can rent it, kill your boss, defeat the boss, go on and give it back. So pay not being not that expensive. So now let's go directly with the demo of Rentfuse. This is the main platform for Rentfuse. We have all the listings here. We have some NFT that I inserted. They are some dummy NFT from a dummy NFT contract that I developed for the hackathon. And we have some NFT here. You can see all the listing with the image related to the NFT, the symbol of the NFT, the price per day, expressed as gas per day, and the duration of the rent. For this demo, I used the Wallet Connect API. So we just can click on this button, the Connect Wallet button. And then we are prompted with the Wallet Connect QR code, so we can copy it. And for this hackathon, I used the web wallet by the city of Zion. It was really useful and easy to be used. I just passed the code here. I approved the connection with Rentfuse. And now I am connected. I can see here that I am connected. So I have this, 1 second, I put it here, okay. I have this account button here, and I have this Lend NFT button. So each of these listing are NFT that are listing on the platform. We can click on one of them and we can see more informations about the NFT. In this case, we have an image of the NFT, some data, the owner, so the address of the owner, the price expressed as gas per day, the duration, the description of the NFT, and the status. Here we have a kind of action bar that changes depending on the status of the NFT and the account that is logged in. So for this demo, first, let's try to do the first basic thing on Rentfuse. One of the main things that is to lend some NFT. So by clicking on the lend NFT button, let's say this drawer goes off, and you can insert the NFT that you want to lend. So I just copy the NFT contract script hash. Okay, I insert the token ID. And as you can see, this is dynamic. While I insert something on this form, it automatically fills the listing here. So you have, let's say, a preview of what you'll list on the platform. Then we insert the price of the rent expressed as gas per day. So I insert 10 and the duration. Now I have completed all the form. I inserted anything. My listing is correct. I like it. So I click on the lend button. And now if I go to the wallet, I can see that I have a pending request. So I approve it. And now I have to wait for the confirmation. So in this case, what I did was to block the interface and waiting for the transaction to be confirmed. So now it was really fast, but maybe from a UX perspective, in the future, this could be adjusted. If some of you have some ideas on this or some feedback, is really appreciated. So now if we update the page, we can see that we have our new listing here that I have just added. So our new NFT listed with the price that is inserted and its duration. So this was the first important, the core function of Rentfuse, let's say. But we have also other functionality. Obviously, we have the possibility to rent some NFT. So I'm here, I'm watching this listing. There is this one. Okay, I like it. I click on this, and I can see that its price, duration, and so on is open. And in fact, I have a rent button. I can click on this rent button, and by clicking on the rent button here is another kind of a confirmation. I can go through the same process that I had before. So clicking on rent, I have to approve the transaction on the wallet, and then I rent the token. I can do the rent function. Then I have another important function that is the pay function, because let's imagine that I rent something and then I have to pay the rent daily. To pay the rent daily, I can just click on another NFT that I have rented. In fact, in this case, you can see that I have an NFT with the status that is rented, and I have a similar button, but now is a little bit different, that say pay. In this way, I can pay for the rent. In this case, I rented an NFT. I paid for it, but if I am an owner, someone has rented my NFT, and I want also to withdraw the gas that the tenant has paid. In order to do so, in a similar way, let's go to this other NFT that someone has rented. We have here another button that is the withdraw button. By clicking on this button, it has always a similar UX approach. Okay, I can withdraw the fund, so the gas that the tenant has paid for this NFT. This is done in order to get the rent from the contract. In fact, all the gas is inside the contract. When it's paid, it's inside the contract. These are let's say the core function that are behind Rentfuse. I can also click on the account button. I can see my listing. So listing depending on the address, and I can see what I have rented. In this case, only this NFT. This covers all the core function of Rentfuse. And now we can move to see the code that is behind the platform. So here I have Visual Studio Code open. Okay, Rentfuse is a repository with a monorepo, let's say, with both the backend and front end in the same place. So Rentfuse is composed by a backend that is the Rentfuse smart contract, okay, that is deployed to the Neo blockchain, and then I have a front end that is a Jamstack application built with React and Next.js. So let's start from the backend. So the Rentfuse contract this is built with C#. At the beginning, we have some properties that are related to the storage, and some of them are related to the and are mainly used for pagination purposes, because maybe in order to retrieve some data, you need to have the index of the listing that you want to get. So some of these properties are just used for indexing purposes, due to the fact that behind the scene there is this LevelDB database that handle the indexing of data. Going on, we can see that we have the event of the contract here that are emitted by the function in the contract. And then we start with the public functions. We have one of the most important one, the only 17 payment, on which we can, depending on the data that is passed as argument and the value that is passed, we can trigger the call to some functions, like in this case, the rent token function or the pay token function. We have also some. Can you please close the microphone, please? Okay, thank you. We have also other function, like for example, in this case, we have the create token function, from which we can create the token. The token is a listing on the Rentfuse platform. So it has at the beginning some checks, and then it saves the rent inside the contract. These are the other functions that are available for the contract. I'll move really quickly on them, and then we are here to the function that as argument the data from some NFT. At the beginning, so at the moment, there are only these two functions, but I'm planning to expand this API that can be used by other contracts in order to know if some NFT is rented, to get the rent, get the duration. So in order to integrate the Rentfuse contract inside their decentralized application. So let's move to the front end now. And for the front end, we have a really simple Next.js application. The main, let's say that the core components is this application component that is a wrapper of all the application, and it uses this context provider to provide the wallet API to the whole application. And the most important part of this part of the front end is this class, is the Rentfuse contract class. Okay, is a class with only static functions that are basically functions that are helpers to call the methods on the backend. So I can easily use them by calling this method and get the results from the chain. So what we saw during this session was at the beginning a little explanation of Rentfuse. Then we moved on with the demo, a little sneak peek on the code, let's say, but it's all open source on my GitHub. So each comment and everything else is well accepted. And let's think also about the future development of the whole platform. The idea is to improve the contract API in order to enable the possibility to integrate the Rentfuse with some other contract, for sure. And then there is the idea to create a native token for Rentfuse in order to foster the usage of the platform. Maybe by using this token, we can pay also not only with gas, but also with the Rentfuse native token. You can earn some of this native token while you rent something. So we can think about some, let's say, DeFi possibility built on this platform. Thank you for your attention, and I'm open to your question.
Thanks, Michael. That was a great demo. I actually had a couple of questions. I wanted to know how you are associating the images with the NFTs. Is that part of the front end? Is that part of the back end? That kind of stuff.
At the moment,
I get to ask first because I'm the host. No, go on.
Okay. What I did at the beginning was to watch the NEP 11 standard for the NFT. It was not finalized yet, but it was a great starting point for the standard. So what I did was to put a link to the image inside the metadata of the NFT, and when I load the NFT on the front end, I just read the metadata, I get the image URL, and then I load it in the front end.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael.
Yep.
So first question from Dennis. Have you tried other NFT standards? How do you compare Neo's NFT standards with other standards, if so?
I tried with the Ethereum standard, 721 standard, and I think that let's say the standard from Neo is something that, in my opinion, from what I did during this hackathon, it was well done. It has all the information needed in order to interact with them, and there is also the possibility to add divisible NFT. So I can think that it can cover a lot of use cases.
Awesome. And then Dylan asked, is it possible to implement a smart contract that automatically distributes the daily payments, or would the user need to manually collect the daily rent? I actually have a similar question to that as well, because my wonder, if I own it, but I haven't paid the rent, like, can I still use whatever the NFT is?
Yeah, let's say that obviously for this hackathon, I created an MVP. But the possibility to automatically distribute the payment, it would be something that I will build upon for sure. Because if you try to use it, you get to know directly that you can't go each day to collect the rent, and it needs to be something automatic, not manually.
Right. You could also imagine paying the entire rent up front and then only allowing the owner to withdraw. Like, so if I'm renting it for $10 for 10 Neo a day, and then I'm renting it for 5 days, and I have to put in 50 Neo plus whatever service charge, and then every day that the owner of the NFT has it, that person, he or she, could withdraw up to, it's been 3 days. The renter put in 50, but you can only take 30 out because it could still be canceled, right? Because I think I didn't see it in the contract, but obviously the ability to cancel a rent, like if the owner and the renter both agree, hey, we're going to cut this short. I thought I was going to need it for 5 days, but defeating the boss didn't take as long as I expected, so I really only need it for 3 days. Can I get a refund for the last 2 days? Like, obviously that's another good opportunity for an enhancement to this. But Michael, this is fantastic. We do need to move on to the next. Oh wait, there's a couple other questions here, real quick. Wulong asked, can you estimate the official launching time to market? When do you think
at the moment? Sorry.
When do you think you're going to ship it?
At the moment, I'm thinking about collaboration with other contracts. with other contract developers. So because this is the most important part. At the end, in order to enable the functionalities of Rentfuse, you need that it is used by other contracts, because at the end is a protocol layer, so it needs to be used by other contracts. So I think that the main thing to do is to collaborate with other developers, improve the contract API, and then move on with the official launch by testing also the contract with them. Maybe a game on the platform.
Yeah. And then William Song asks, is there a way to actually move the ownership of the NFT and return to the original owner on something like a timer or blockchain height? Otherwise, what stops there from being multiple renting platforms that are essentially allowing double renting? That's
okay. Yeah. At the beginning, I was struggling with how to do the NFT, let's say the process of renting, because I thought that I had two ways. In one way, I had to build an escrow, so that I need collaterals from one side in order to avoid that the asset couldn't be not returned. And in another way, that is the way that I took at the end, I wanted to create a Rentfuse as a platform that is NFT safe. So the NFT won't ever change the ownership. It's always by its owner, and all the renting process is handled by the contract. So this is the reason, because I need to improve the contract API, because other contracts should call the contract API and ask if the NFT is rented or not in order to use it.
Makes sense. Okay.
This makes it safe.
Yep. Well, we need to move on to the next demo. Thank you so much, Michael. I'm going to mute you now.
Thank you all.
Oh, whoops. Just as you go ahead, finish saying, okay, well, Michael, thank you so much. We're now going to move on to Irshad. He's going to demo the Intellij plugin for Neo Blockchain Toolkit. The Intellij plugin for Neo Blockchain is the Neo Blockchain Toolkit for VS Code analog for the JetBrains Intellij branded IDEs. It allows users to create and manage private nets, explore blocks and transactions, create wallets, and transfer assets and deploy and invoke contracts on private nets. So, Irshad, it's very nice to meet you.
Hi, guys. Hi, very nice to meet you. Can you see my screen?
I can see.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, Irshad.
All right. So my name is Irshad. I'm a developer from Sri Lanka. This is mostly a one-man project, at least for right now. This is different from other projects in the hackathon because it's a developer tool. If you are a developer, you use Neo Blockchain. I'm sure you are familiar with Neo Blockchain Toolkit. This is similar to that, but it's for Intellij-based IDEs. Let's go into the demo. So you can install the plugin using any Intellij IDE. If you go to settings, plugins, and search for Neo. I have already installed that plugin. And so this plugin uses Neo Express quite heavily. So the first thing we have to do is go to settings, tools, and Neo, and specify the paths for Neo .NET executable and Neo Express path. So I have done that in the Intellij IDE. I'll show you. Settings. Tools. Yeah. So this is how. So this is a temporary workaround. I'm looking into bundling Neo Express with the plugin, but for now this is required. Once it is set up, we can move on to testing the plugin. So by default, you should be able to see a tool window appear on your right side, called Neo. You can move this tool window in anywhere you want, right? You can have it in a separate window as well, but for now, I'm going to use it plugged in. So the first thing we are going to do is create a private net. To do that, we create private net. I'm going to use Irshad. Select the number of node as 1 and create. It will show a private net created. Once created, you can click the drop-down menu and select the private net and apply. It will check if the private net is running. If it's not running, you can click start and run. This will run the PrivateNet in the integrated terminal. Once it's running, you can refresh it. So when it's running, you should be able to see the blocks appearing every 15 seconds. You can even click on blocks and select other details like index, block hash size, and etc. You can even filter, like just as Neo Blockchain Toolkit, you can filter empty blocks. So it will only show transaction if blocks that has at least one transaction. I'm going to leave it as now. The next logical step is to create a wallet and send some assets. So right now we don't have any wallet. We click create, it will auto populate a name. I'm going to create Melvin. Wallet created. I have to refresh this. So this is Melvin's address. Right now, Melvin has no assets in his wallet. So I'm going to transfer some gas from a Genesis wallet to Melvin's wallet. I'm going to transfer 1,000 gas to Melvin. So you will see a asset transfer submitted block. So if we go back to blocks and wait for a little bit, like maximum 15 seconds, we should be able to see a block with transaction appear here. So this is the transaction. The sender is Genesis. This is the transaction. You can even click on a transaction and see more details. The transaction. This is the script here assembled. So that's basically it for this. And I'm going to go back to wallets. And if I refresh, I should be able to see Melvin has 1,000 gas. So the next step is to deploy some contracts and invoke them. So you can go to contracts tab. So these are the currently deployed contracts. These are native contracts. For this demo, I have prepared a contract and compiled using Neo N3 library. So this is the contract. This is the basic contract. It has for function, takes a string, takes an integer, takes multiple params. I have also compiled and have the manifested JSON file here and a contract NF file here. So to deploy a contract, you need these two files. Now, let's do that. I click deploy. Now, if you don't see the wallets appearing here, you have to refresh it. It should appear here. And now I'm going to select the wallet, select the NF file, select the manifested JSON file, and select the wallet I'm going to deploy from and click deploy. Contract submitted, hello contract. Now, if I go back to blocks and wait for a little bit, I should see a block appear with one transaction. This may take like up to 15 seconds. Yeah, there you go. This is the transaction of the deployment. Let's go back to contracts. And if I refresh, I should see the hello contract here. You can see hello contract. This is the contract hash. These are the operations. Now invocation. So as you probably know, Neo Blockchain Toolkit support Neo invoke JSON files. So this plugin also support that file. I have already created the Neo invoke JSON file here with contract name, with hello words and one arc. So I'm going to open that invoke file by clicking invoke here and open the invoke.json file. So it will open up here. You can add the step. This UI is a little bit buggy, but I have to fix that. You can add the step. You can delete a step. There's auto completion. Hello contract. I'm going to use the method take string. I'm going to call this method take string. It takes a string and returns hello whatever that string is. So as for arguments, I'm going to use my name and click run step. So you have to choose the wallet right now, and I'm going to test invoke. So this is a test invocation result. This is not the actual invocation on chain, but you can see what's the end result will be. The VM state is not full, it's all. The gas consumed. This is stack. Stack is the return statement. It uses, so this is the function, right? I'm passing Irshad. Return statement is allow Irshad. So this is what it's here. This is the script. And if you are okay with the result, you can invoke on chain. Transaction submitted. This is transaction hash. Now, if I go back to blocks and wait for a little bit, I should be able to see the transaction appear here. The blocks appear every 15 seconds, so it might take a little days. So I invoke the transaction using Melvin. So this is the hash that we saw in the notification. So this is the transaction we just invoked. So also you can save the invoke JSON file here. Now I added a step. Now if I go and open this, I can see the added step here, Irshad. So this is basically the idea. So I'm going to show you what's cool about it. So I have written the same contract here in C#, and I have compiled using C# libraries. You can use the same mechanism with the C# in IntelliJ Rider. The same goes for PyCharm. I have written the same contract in PyCharm, Python, and compiled using Neo Boa, and you can invoke with the plugin. Same goes for Golang. I have written using Go, the same contract using Go, and compiled it. You can do the same thing in Go. And so I think that's pretty cool. You can write any contracts with any language and use whatever the IDE you are preferred, and test your stuff in the plugin. So this is basically the idea for now. As for future improvements, I have to fix some UI issues. I have to look into importing NEP6 wallets. The biggest feature is going to be supporting debugging contracts, and invoking mainnet and testnet contracts and deploying them. So that's basically the idea for now. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Irshad. I think that's great. One piece of small feedback, it's amazing how long 15 seconds wait. When you're waiting for that block to come in, right? I know that feeling.
Yeah.
15 seconds. 15 seconds doesn't feel like it should be this long, but it really is. When you run the contract, there's two things. When you run Neo Express, you can actually configure how fast it runs. So there's a settings per block that you can call. So you can run it so that it's creating a block every second or every 5 seconds or something. It also can work offline. And if you want, you and I can talk offline about that. But basically, when you run Neo Express and you say contract invoke or contract deploy or whatever, Neo Express will check to see whether or not the Neo Express is actually running. If it is running, it submits an RPC request the same way as you would communicate with, say, testnet or mainnet. If it isn't running, it creates a block with just your one transaction, runs a consensus round, and commits it. So it happens almost instantaneously. So especially for things like configuring the blockchain for a developer, that's how batch mode works. It's really powerful and it's really useful. So it's something to take a look at with this. I'm really, as you can imagine, I'm pretty excited about this work. I'm not as much of a Java developer. Will be the first to tell you that. But it's really cool to see this integration with the Intellij, the JetBrains collection of IDEs. So here's a couple of questions. Dylan asked, the William Song also answered it. I'm not a developer, but those who are familiar with the tool set were very excited about this adaptation. For those of us who are unfamiliar, why is this such a useful integration? Is Intellij popular among the most popular IDEs?
So, as a developer, I prefer to use a fully featured IDEs whenever I can. I think I've seen, like, I work with a lot of developers, and I think a lot of developers share the same sentiment. Like, if a developer, we want to attract other developers to our tool chains, right? So if a developer is familiar with IntelliJ IDEA or WebStorm or something like that, and he prefers to use that, I think this provides how do I say this? Yeah, this is a good tool for them to use their platform they're familiar with, right?
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, that's the idea.
Hey man, meeting developers where they are, that's my mantra. I'm totally with you on this one, Irshad. And then Robert Oshlar asked if this will work with WebStorm, Intellij WebStorm.
Yeah, it should work with WebStorm. Yeah, IntelliJ plugins Yeah, there's no platform dependent features here, but in future we can look into like something like file. If you go to file a new project, you can have an option here called Neo, right? And if the user is using PyCharm, we can set up project using Neo Boa. If the user is using Neo Intellij idea, we can set up a project using Neo Java library. We can do something like that, but it should support every IDEs. Yes.
Makes sense. So I'm going to say what I think you just said back. The core block explorer here will work the same in all of the various JetBrains IDEs, including WebStorm. There might be like other types of integration, like the new project, which would obviously be language specific. You wouldn't want to create a new Python project in IntelliJ, for example.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool thing.
But we can detect which IDE is using, and we can set up a project with specific libraries.
Makes sense. So you'd have one like Neo template project, new Neo contract, and then it would do the right one based on which IDE you're in.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Yep. So I think that's it for questions, and I think we're almost out of time. When you want to start working on the debugger, man, let me know.
All right. Thank you.
Because the debugger is also designed to be cross-platform like Neo Express, the back end of it. It's only currently designed to work with Visual Studio Code, but we can change that. So, okay, so now we need to get Jeffrey. Jeffrey is the developer behind Notai. I'm potentially mangling that. Notai, hold on, let me unmute you. Am I pronouncing that correctly? I don't know.
You got it right, Harry. You got it right.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Jeffrey. So Notai lets you send payments to anyone with your own condition. This service introduces the ability for an individual on the blockchain to create an escrow account and transfer funds to it, which can be designated to a recipient account. The recipient can then release these funds when a particular condition is met. The condition would be specified by the sender along with a payment expiry date. If the condition is not fulfilled by the time of expiry, the sender can cancel the payment, by which the funds will then be transferred back to the sender. When I was looking at the video for this, Jeffrey, and then looking at the video, or especially hearing, hold on, who was here earlier? The guy from Rentfuse. I'm sorry. That we might need to have you guys talk to each other, because that, like, one of the things that I noticed about your demo is that it looks like there's the opportunity to do on schedule, which is kind of cool. So I think you've muted yourself again. So why don't you take the con here?
Right. Thanks, Harry. Hi, everyone. My name is, thanks for having me on board, first of all. So my name is Jeffrey. I'm the developer of Notai. Just let me share my screen for a while. I've actually prepared some small slides for this demo. I'll show the live demo later, don't worry. So here, let me first explain what Notai is. I think Harry already explained the high level part, but basically Notai is a service to send conditional payments using any API on the internet. So what this means is that you can send payments on the blockchain, and that payments can, you can attach conditions to that payments, and that condition can be any API on the internet that must return a specific response in order for your payment to go through. You can configure the response however you want, and I'll show you that in a moment. So here's how it works on a high level. Starting with the sender on the left, you will create the payment and set the condition. Then funds from that payment will be transferred into an asset locked account, or an escrow in other words, and the recipient can attempt to release this payment. When they do, they will come to this verification condition phase, which actually do an invocation to the public API that was configured as part of the payment. And when the response of the API matches the criteria that the sender configured, then the transaction takes place, in which case the funds from the asset locked account will be transferred to the recipient's address. But on the other case, if let's say this process could not be achieved within a set time frame, this payment would be expired. And in which case the sender can cancel the payment, and the assets from the locked account will then be transferred back to the original sending account. So on a high level, some features we have, the first one is send conditional payments, as I explained just now. Second one, we have the payment expiry and cancellation feature. And also there is an easy way to receive payments. I'll show you that in a short while. There is a dedicated link and a page for anyone to receive the payments. There is a web console so you can manage your payments. And also in the future, we are planning to build an API so that third-party developers can integrate with the service. So let's go on to the demo. So this is the landing page for Notai. It's actually a good place to learn about the product from a consumer perspective. I'm going to go ahead and log in and show you how it looks like on the inside. So this is the dashboard that shows you all your active payments. Since I don't have any at the moment, we are going to go and create one by switching over to the create new payment tab. Over here is where you would enter details about the payment. On the left, you have payment details. The name is optional, but we can go ahead and put any name you want. For example, if maybe you're doing a bet with somebody, if you Olympic bet, I'm just gonna put something here. It's very generic. Olympic bet meaning, so maybe if a particular country wins a certain amount of gold medals, then the payment goes through. And just an example, but for the receiving address, you just put the address here. And assets, currently we only support Neo or Guess, but in the future, basically you can send to any P17 compatible assets. So I'm just gonna send some Guess here. For the amount, it's just an arbitrary amount. For expiry date, this is what I explained just now. The default is 1 month from today, but you can set it to any date you want as long as it's in the future. So once you have hit this expiry date, then you can actually cancel this payment and get your 30 gas back. So on the next part, there is this release condition. Release condition is the criteria you would configure so that that must be matched in order for your 30 gas to get sent over to this address. So for an API endpoint URL, typically, if this is an Olympic bet, you might want to look for an API that actually returns, live Olympic results or things like that. So fields is the response, the response fields that must exist from part of this API response, the type of field, whether it's a text, number, or date time, and the value of that field that must match. And obviously there is operator, this equals more than or less than, you can choose anyone here. But filling all of this can be somewhat tedious, especially if you're doing it repeatedly. So we have a feature for presets. If you go and click on select a preset, there is a few pre-configured presets currently that comes with the application, but in the future you should be able to save your own presets. So I'm going to go through some presets here. On a specific date, if we click on this is actually calling the world time API and getting the date time field in the response with this time zone, the UTC actually, and this is a value that you can put it to any value you want. If you put more than equals, what this means is that this payment can only, this receiving address can only receive this payment if the current date is more than New Year next year. So if you go to some other presets, like Bitcoin price is above 100K, so this is actually calling the CoinDesk API, looking at the rate float value. So the Bitcoin price must be more than 100K for this payment to go through. So this is useful if you say if you want to just put some assets aside, you want to lock them up and until a certain price, until it hits a certain value. So this kind of like a forced saving. It doesn't, you to stop yourself from selling emotionally at a lower price than what you're expecting to get from that asset. So since this is a demo, I'm going to go ahead and choose the demos preset, which is going to call a dummy API. So this API is always going to return a fixed, a fixed response. So this payment can be claimed is always going to be yes. And here we have a JSON file format that actually specifies the payment can be claimed is a type of a text field equals to yes. So I'm going to go ahead and create this payment. It's asking for confirmation with a service fee of 0.5 yes. So this service fee will be sent to the contract owner's account. So this is for the fee for the service, and part of this will also be used to pay for the Oracle service when the recipient actually release this payment. So let's go ahead and click confirm. All right, so a link is generated. This link you can send to the recipient, and they would be able to release the payment using this link. But before that, I'm going to show you the active payments. Right, it's not here yet. So here's the magic 15 seconds wait. Refresh, still not here. Really, 15 seconds is a long time. All right, yeah, it's here right now. So this is your payments details, the release condition. You can cancel the payment, but this would block you because you have set the expiry date to 27th of August. So let's say you have sent the link to the recipient, and they are clicking on the link, and they would see this page. So payment received 30 gas. This is the release condition. So when they click claim now, there's two things that's going to happen. The first thing is this web application will do a request to this API to check if the condition is matched. Only when it's matched, then it sends the request to the smart contract, where the smart contract will repeat the same process to check on this API using the Oracle service and also the response. So why is it done this way? The only reason is to reduce the blockchain cost, because when you're running Oracle, you have to pay some fees over there. So I'm going to go ahead to click claim now. It's always going to go through because it's a dummy API. So here, so once release is successful, it should disappear from here in a short while. Still, I'm not going to wait. I mean, 15 seconds is like, come on. All right, it's gone. All right, so it's gone from here. It goes to fast payments. You should see it down here. So just showing you a bit on the code. There's nothing much special about the code. We have some methods to get the payments that generate the dashboard that you saw just now, the active and fast payments. We have the create payment function. Create payment function is quite straightforward. We send the service fee in gas. We transfer the asset to the escrow account, and then so for creating the actual payment in storage. And then cancellation of payment is also quite straightforward. Just checking on the status. It must be it must be open in order to cancel it, and also it must be expired. And then here's transferring back the assets. Release payment is where the interesting part comes in. So before we call the Oracle request, we are actually marking the payment status to verification. And then in the callback of the Oracle, this is once we get the response from the API, we are doing all the condition checks here. So condition field type, if it's a text and equal, we do an equal match. If it's a number, then we will check for the operator whether it's a more than equals or less than equals. Same goes with date time as well. Not the most elegant of codes, but it does the job. So if the condition is checks out, then your payment will be updated to release status. Otherwise, it just goes back to the open status. So going back to the slides, something to talk about on the tech stack. The web application you saw just now was built with React and TypeScript, and I'm also using Next.js framework. For the smart contract, is built with C#. And here is the simple architecture diagram. The web front end talks to the smart contract using the Neo.js library, and also we do the transfer method from the NFTs 17 assets using the Oracle service to make any API calls. So what's next for the project? Here's a quick rough roadmap that we have. We have the proof of concept right now, and also we have done the purchase of the domain name for noti.finance. in a short while, August, we are going to focus on backlog planning, identifying the list of things we need to do to get our product, to be somewhat more ready for production release. Also considering team expansion as well. In September, we are looking at ironing out some, if any, bugs and security issues that we find. Also building out the API for third-party integration. And October onwards, we want to focus on design uplifting because as you've seen just now, the interface could really use a proper design uplifting, a more professional design. So also, if there's opportunity, we want to have some marketing campaigns as well. We don't have a set date for when we are going to launch at this moment. This is still to be announced. So team, there's no one else. It's only me at the moment, but I'm really I'm open to having more people on board or even collaborating with other contract developers. So that's all for my presentation. Thanks, guys.
Great.
Thanks for listening.
We have a couple of comments and questions coming up, Jeffrey. The first one was, well, Dennis made a comment about he could see betting and prediction markets evolving from this. Are you looking at those types of market segments for working with this, or are you looking for partners in that space?
Actually, yeah, the idea of NoteHigh is to have it open. That's why I think right now for the proof of concept phase, we have the web console, but ideally the focus would be more on the API. So we want any kind of third party, whether it's a betting or prediction, or whether it's scheduled payments or whatever service that you're using. If you could rely on the API that NoteHigh provides, then essentially we solve the problem. So yeah, we are really open to cooperation. Yeah, not just there's no limit to what is not betting or prediction market. Yeah, I'm really open for it.
Makes sense. Dennis also asked if you could give your impression of the Oracle infrastructure, especially if you've worked with oracles on other Oracle systems as well.
Yeah, I haven't come across other blockchains that has this feature where you can actually just the Oracle feature where you can actually just call any API on the internet. So this is the first, and it's really exciting that we I'm seeing this opportunity. There's so much you can do with it. So to answer your question, I have not worked with other oracles other than Neo.
Okay. And then Dylan made a comment about the possibility for collaboration with Rentfuse, as I pointed out earlier, when it comes to expiry dates for rented out NFTs, like the integration of I want to rent and pay on a date, and NoteHigh's ability to pay on a date. So we have any other questions? Oh, are there any, Dylan also asked if there are other cases that you can think of that what are some other use cases that you think native Oracle support can offer? So I think what he's trying to ask there is, Dylan, I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. Are you asking like what other features we could add to the Oracle infrastructure that would make Jeffrey's life easier? That's kind of what it sounds like you're asking. What else can we use oracles for? That's what he's asking.
Well, off the top of my head, I think if you can see will writing as part of I'm not going to go into the solemn direction and says that if somebody dies, if you can get their death certificate from an API somewhere, then you would be able to transfer your assets to their but if that's one of the idea that thought of my head right now. Will writing is something that could be really useful on something that's because it's an expensive service. If you can put it on a blockchain, it's essentially cost saving for a lot of people, and also retirement savings as well. I think for retirement savings, putting funds away and being able to access them in the future, at some point, it's also a really good use case for Oracle. But right now, I'm just just pulling answers off of my head. I don't really have anything other than this at the moment. So
makes sense. Those were all unique ideas that Dylan hadn't thought of. So thank you for sharing those. So with that, we are at the end of today's demo day. Please come back tomorrow. We're going to see same bat time, same bat channel. Sorry, that's probably an American popular culture reference. Maybe not everybody gets it. Come back tomorrow, same time, same Zoom channel. We're going to see HumSwap and Lyrebird. And I hope you guys have enjoyed today's talk, and we'll come back tomorrow.